Now, before we get into this episode, I have a special announcement for you, and that is I'm holding a 4-day transformational mindset and marketing event on the beautiful island of Bali, Indonesia. Now, this is the second time around that we have run the Master Your Influence event, and the last one sold out as we filled the room. Now, I'll be holding the event on July 23rd to July 26th with 2 incredible leadership experts who have impacted tens of thousands from stages around the world and have created a truly fulfilling lifestyle for themselves and their tribe. Now, I hear all too often that the path of an entrepreneur is a lonely one, and I can tell you it's true. I have experienced this myself. So this is your opportunity to move out of loneliness and into collaboration and high-level creation with a tribe of game changers, entrepreneurs, philanthropists, inspiring creatives, and many more that will impact your life forever. So just imagine, over the course of 4 unforgettable days, you will not only learn powerful new ways to master your influence, you will also get to deepen your relationships face to face in a fun social setting in the evenings and spend time with myself and the other speakers. So this is an invite-only event, and you must apply for it if you are ready for a powerful shift in your life. Now head over to iamjoelbrown.com/event. That is iamjoelbrown.com/event and watch the video before you apply. Now just remember, the person you'll be at the end of this exciting getaway will blow your friends, family, and your followers away when you return home. Applications are limited. Get on it now. Don't miss this. We are maxing out the room very soon, okay? So jump on it today. Now let's get into this interview.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Addicted to Success podcast. I'm your host, Joel Brown, and I'm here today with the man of the hour, Garrain Jones, who is an incredible transformational speaker, a leader who rocks stages all around the world. He just featured on Tom Bilyeu's Impact Theory interview series, and I heard he absolutely rocked it. I can't wait to see it. And he has a book coming out very soon called Change Your Mindset, Change Your Life. Garrain and I spoke at an event together in London, and he tore up the stage and the room went wild. Garrain, thank you so much for jumping on the podcast. I'm excited to jump into this, man, and to hear the wisdom that oozes out of you.
Man, thank you so much. I've been wanting to come on your podcast for a long time. And just thank you, first and foremost, before we even get started, for even having a platform so that people that have been through some crazy things in life can share. Because I know that there's somebody out there that's like, damn, that's me. So for you to even have a platform for a story like mine, it's like, that's really powerful, because a lot of people in positions of power that don't use it for the betterment of mankind, and that's what you're doing. So I acknowledge you for that.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate you. So just before we jumped on this interview here, you and I were talking a little bit about your story, and we're breaking down how story impacts lives. And I was saying, the thing about the story is that when you share a story, it may or may not, depending on who's in the room, it may move people in that room emotionally to a place where emotion is like the sticky glue to your memory. So you become an even powerful speaker and leader when you have stories, when you've lived a courageous life and lived some incredible experiences. And I remember when we were in London, we were crossing the road. We came out of like this place we were eating at, and we went across the road to grab something from one of the stores. And I remember it was like a really drizzly day, as it usually is out in the UK. And you were just sharing with me your story of how you went through this struggling time and how you came out of it. And I'd love for you, just in a nutshell, you don't have to go like all the way in, because I know you've got a lot of amazing stories, but in a nutshell, can you give us a picture of what was your lowest point in your life, and then how did you pull yourself out of that to where you are now?
So the lowest point in my life was August 2011, 3:43 in the morning. I was living in my car for 2.5 years. I was over $200,000 in debt. My girlfriend had just dumped me because I couldn't get my life together. My daughter pretty much disowned me because I couldn't be the father. Like, I didn't even know how to be the kind of father she needed, because I was seeing, through the knothole of my pain. And I didn't care whether I live or I died. And my lowest point was like, why am I here? You know what I'm saying? It's like I'm seeing all these people around me be successful that are less talented than me. And there was a point in my life where it was like my mom was like literally dying. She was overweight. My brother was overweight. There was so many things going on in my life, and I couldn't seem to get my footing. And I had no idea it was my attitude, how negative I was. I was gossiping. I didn't believe in myself. I had no idea that this was literally creating my life because I didn't have any mentors in my life. And so that was my lowest point. And I remember that night in August, my whole entire life, I've always focused on what I don't want. I don't want to be broke. I don't want this kind of girl. I don't want this. I don't want that. And every time I put energy into what I don't want, it seemed for some reason that it would always come into my life. I'm like, can it get any worse? And it would get worse. And it was in that very moment that I just yelled out as loud as I can. I call it my moment of awakening. And I just yelled out, okay, I'm tired of fighting. I don't want to fight anymore. I don't want to fight anymore. I want to be healthy. I want to be happy. I want to be surrounded by nothing but positive people. I just want to inspire people. And I want to make a bunch of money, but I want the money to represent something that I passionately believe in, that I would do for free. Just show me a sign. Show me a sign. Show me a sign. And I remember my eyes were bloodshot red, and I was at peak state. And it was the first time I focused on how I wanted to feel and on exactly what I wanted, not what my mom wanted for me, not what my dad, not what society, not what radio, news, none of that stuff. Garrain. What Garrain wanted for him, it was the first time in my life. And I didn't even know what was going to proceed after that. A week later, I'm at the gas station, and a homeless guy, you'll see why I say homeless guy, walks up to me and asks me for money. He has a wad of money in his hand. And I say, you have more money than me. And he looked at me. It was almost like his pupils changed. And he goes, change your mindset, change your life. And then he walks away. Wow. I stopped in my track, and it was the first time I had ever heard something like that. It was almost like a conscious interrupt. Stopped in my track, and it was like the movie Rain Man, where the guy was talking to himself. And I'm like, change your mindset, change your life. Change your mindset, change your life. And I just kept saying it over and over and over. So if my mind is set on something, then that's why the result is what it is. So if I do different with the same circumstance, then my life will change. I just kept playing with it. So how I got to where I got to now, because that one concept of doing different with the same circumstance in a society where we're bred as habitual creatures that live out and carry on the same thing that we've been doing since we were 6, 7 years. Anytime I don't feel like doing something, I would say, change your mindset, change your life. And I would do the opposite. I was building new neural pathways, which I read about in the book. I didn't know what those were. But on a small subconscious level, I was just doing things that were easy. Normally, I would take the escalators, change your mindset, change your life. Then I would take the stairs. And our life is a big momentum. It's either momentum in a negative way or momentum in a positive way. So I just started taking the stairs. Then I started doing the opposite of gel soap to bar soap. Then I didn't want to work out, so I would go and work out. And so I'm 7 years removed from the pattern that I've been living since I was 5. But that's how I got here, because I was simply doing the opposite of something that I would normally not do in areas that I wasn't happy.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you had some mental gymnastics going on. You went back into the mental gym and put in the work. Huh.
Absolutely.
Right. And so obviously your book is heavily based off this. What have you taken from that experience and applied in your life now?
Well, one, I was extremely negative. I talked about people behind their back. I was dirty. Like, I never cleaned up. I was never on time for anything. I wasn't a good father. I never showed up for my daughter. Like, I didn't show appreciation to my mom, my brother, my cousins, my family. Like I was very pride, ego, and excuses. So the opposite of all of those points to good. So because of the mindset change from negative to positive, like I started focusing and reading books on gratitude and service of the many and contribution. Like I literally did the opposite of everything that I normally did in areas that I wasn't happy. If I was a gossiper, then I was like literally building people up. You know, if I was negative, then I was positive. If I was selfish, then I was contributing. You know, if I was prideful and ego, then I was humble. I had humility. So I literally did the opposite of everything in all those negative areas in my life. And because my life was on this momentous pattern of simply doing the opposite, I had already built the muscle of it's easy. I made my old hard my new easy. So in speaking, in my leadership, and who I am for people, who I am for the world, I got my daughter back. I didn't have a relationship with my daughter for 15 years. But the opposite of that is somebody who's a present father, who's always on time, who says I love you, who's very affectionate. I was none of those things. And when I changed my mindset, I became the very thing that I never was. So I've done that with my relationship to money, my relationship to business, my relationship to myself. I hated myself. Now I love everything about me when nobody's around. Like I love everything about me inside and out. That was something that I didn't have. And you can't love other people if you don't love yourself.
Absolutely. Yeah, you know, it's funny. I remember we were in London and we're working out in the gym. And I got to tell you guys, if you're watching this or listening to this right now, Garrain lives what he says. Like he's so disciplined in his greatness. And you know what I see from you, Garrain, is that you show up as a leader, even with yourself, so that you can be ready and fine-tuned to be a leader for others.
Absolutely. People don't do what you say. They do what they see, and they respond to how they feel. I used to say things all the time. I'm like, why won't you listen? I'm like, oh, because they're watching me.
Yep, there you go. And Garrain has thousands upon thousands of people watching him. I saw your Insta story. So if you're listening right now, make sure you go and check out Garrain's Instagram. He puts up some hilarious Insta stories. And this is what I love, man, is I love that, like, you know, yes, you're a transformational leader. Yes, you are an entrepreneur. Yes, you know how to, you know, make money and to invest money, and, you know, you're leading thousands, but at the same time, you also know how to have fun. And I see in entrepreneurship, so many people are in this space where they're like, I have to be serious. I have to have this certain image. I have to rock the suits all the time. I've got to look the part. And tell me a little bit about identity, man, because I know that this conversation is really important right now. A lot of people are like kind of lost with what their identity is. How did you step into your identity and embrace your identity and be good with loving yourself, as you say?
You know, it's interesting that you say this. This is actually a profound what I'm about to go into, but I was watching a bird one day, and I was so fascinated by the bird soaring in the air. I'm like, oh my God, I wish I could fly. I wish I could do this. And then all of a sudden, I just had this crazy epiphany. I was like, wait a second. The bird doesn't even know he's the bird. He's just utilizing everything that's already inside of him. But here I am trying to be this person, trying to look like this, trying to fit into this group or this category or look like this because of this. And I was looking at a lot of my friends, and I was like, yo, we're the ones trapped. The bird doesn't know it's a bird. However, if the bird were to try to be an alligator, life might seem difficult. So when I was trying to be what I thought success should look like, what I thought an entrepreneur should look like, what I thought this other thing should look like, the very thing that I left was the very thing that had all the answers, which was myself. Everything that I've been looking for my entire life, I didn't find in church, I didn't find in a girl, I didn't find in business, I didn't find in the money, I didn't find in $1 million home, in the cars or anything. The answers have been inside of me the entire time. And when I started utilizing everything that was already inside of me. I love pandas. I love fashion. I love fitness. I love empowering people. I love bow ties. I love fun socks. I love the colors of the rainbow. Like, clearly, look at my shirt. You know, I love so many things. But when I got back to everything that I loved, I realized where the answer was the entire time. It was in my heart. And so I was doing, anytime I did something outside of me, I was leaving my heart. And that's when I was saying, oh, I feel like something is missing, even with the luxury cars and the houses and traveling all over the world. I'm like, but I feel like something is missing. And that something that was missing was me. It was me. And I want to give people a visual. This is the greatest visual. If you can imagine a child coming up to the parent's leg going, Mom, 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 Dad, 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 and you ignoring that child for 30 years, 20 years, you can see how the relationship would be empty, like there would be no relationship. What I feel and how I live my life is everything that I used to love to do as a child before I was tainted by society and parents and school, music videos and all this stuff. There were things that I already loved. I feel that the things that you loved as a child is connected to source energy. It's your spiritual umbilical cord to source. And every time you do the things that you love, it emits a certain frequency and an energy and gets you back to your innate nature. And when you're inside of your heart, what comes from the heart goes into the heart. So the reason why people feel empty and stuck and all these, like something is missing, is because they forgot who they are. So for you out there listening, I'm only reminding you of what your soul already knows. And so I speak on this is because that's my secret sauce. We listened, we heard that, the gold is at the end of the rainbow. No, the gold is at the beginning of the rainbow. And that's how you came into this world. With your heart and everything that was already inside of it.
Amen, brother. Whew. Yeah, it's interesting. I feel like, I believe that God created all of us with a purpose. It's like you don't have to tell a fish that it needs to swim. You don't have to tell a bird it needs to fly. They're already doing it, right? There is no suppression around it. It's just they're living, right? And it's so true. Like society suppresses this idea of, believing in more and wanting to achieve more in our life and sharing our gifts. We're told to sit in the box and fit on the tracks. And I just love that you went there, man. This is such a necessary conversation right now, especially with, social media and even the media in itself. And we're in, like, I've seen it in the online game. You're running an online business, an online brand, and you've seen it too, I'm sure, where people are in this cesspool, this saturation of trying to be better than, instead of this whole what would happen if I was different? And what is different? Different is you. Different is you being uniquely you and stepping into that and owning truly who you are. Like the world doesn't need more Garrain Jones. The world doesn't need more Joel Browns or anybody else out there. They need themselves. The world needs you to show up with the gifts that you're giving.
I feel like that's the greatest gift that you can give to the world. You in your authentic form. Everybody else is already taken, but like you, how you are, the things that you love, like I'm putting everything out that I can. I got inventions, books, and it's like I feel like a juggling match. I'm getting everything out, but like I see it. There's some people they're inspired by me, but like, I'm trying to be inspired by the stuff that's been inside of you that you never let out. There's a whole entire universe inside, and the universe that you see out there is a reflection of what's inside of you. But when you see how powerful you are and you get that stuff out, you are the next wizard, the next inventive wizard. You are the next whatever, the next version of you, but like on a big stage doing something in the world.
Yeah, it's amazing, man, what the mind is capable of. In your study, in your research, even living just in your life, what have you found to be one of the most profound things that you've discovered when it comes to the power of your mind? Obviously, change your mindset, change your life is the overall, but is there anything specific with the way that we think as humans or the way that you can train your mind that you find really powerful?
the most profound thing is that our mind is like literally plastic. It's like literally plastic. You can literally shape your thoughts. It's like an ordained law. Like our whole life is governed by laws. Law of attraction, law of hate, law of love. Like it's all these laws. By what you focus on, like your mind, you can shape your entire reality. And from one thing to the next. And it won't make sense while you're in it because you can't see the picture while you're in the frame. There's just a knowing and an overstanding, not an understanding, but there's just a knowing and an overstaring standing and a calmness and just a allowing inside of that. And when you are that kind of person, your mind is so. We built rockets, computers, like we've done so much stuff, and that came from the same brain that we all have access to. And so that's what I think is like you literally have the power to do whatever it is that you want if you believe long enough without having a single doubt. Because as soon as you doubt, like whatever you poured in that cup, you pour it right back out.
Yeah, it's funny. I find that like I have to negotiate with my own mind because it can start playing tricks on me. It starts trying to talk me out of things. Yeah, it's wild, man. It's absolutely wild. So Garrain, I know you're a man of action. You don't just share story and just speak. I know that you really are about getting those that are you're leading into action. So what are some actionable steps that the Addicted to Success listeners can take today to empower their life?
Well, I can tell you this. There's a lot of people that come into some kind of success in their life. Some kind. You might have success in chasing women and don't even realize that it's the same energy that's not being devoted to whatever your mission or whatever it is. Because energy goes where energy flows. But the piece of advice that I can give is when you think about your life, and I'm not just talking about this little bitty portion. I'm talking about every area of your life, like fun and adventure, your family, your finances, your spiritual life, your physical life, your just like there's so many different things that make up our life. You can have your cake and eat it too. You can have it all. And I'm going to share with you something that is going to blow your mind. All right, so check this out. I want everybody out there, I'm just going to give you your life. This is an actionable item that is going to give your life so much power. This is called the Wheel of Power. Draw a circle on your page, just like draw a circle. Put a line down the center, and then a line down the other center, then a diagonal line, then another line. You should have 8 pieces of sweet potato pie. I say sweet potato pie because that's what my big mama cooks. Okay, in the circle, on the top of the line, write fun and adventure. Boom. On the next line, write health and nutrition. This is the lines that are on the outside going clockwise. On the next line, tribe, culture and tribe. On the next line, current business. On the next line, contribution. On the next line, personal and spiritual development. On the next line, physical challenges. And the next line, friends, family, and relationships. You should have 8 items around that circle. Now, here's what we're going to do. And this is an actionable item that I want you to really, really think about as you write this down. Now, write a number from, okay, in the center is a 1. On the outside is a 10. Like where you wrote fun and adventure, that is a 10, like on the outside of the circle. And in the center is a 1. On the line from 1 to 10, How do you feel about the fun and adventure that you're having in your life right now? If you ain't done something fun in a long time, write a 1 on, like, in the center. Boom. On the next line, your health and nutrition. How do you feel about your health and nutrition? If it sucks, write a 1. If it's so amazing, write a 10. You write that 10, amazing. The next line, how do you feel about your culture, that you're surrounding, your environment or your tribe? And write that on that line. And on the next one is your business. Think about the current business you're right now. If it's not going so well, write a 1 or on that line, or a 3. But the next one, we'll just say wherever personal and spiritual development, wherever that is, write a number on that line. Okay? The next one is physical challenges. The last time that you physically challenge yourself to do something more than what you're doing now. Like you're going out, and what it takes to do that, it's going to take some mental capacity, maybe to run a 5K you've never run before. Whatever that is. If it's a 1, write a 1. Now, the next one is friends, family, relationships. Think about that. Whatever that is, if you have a bad relationship with your mom, your dad, is like you're just not really a relationable person, write a 1. If you're like good with everybody, write a 10. Now, whatever that is, connect all the dots. Now, what I want you to do, after you connect all the dots, I want you to shade everything in on the inside. Now, once you shade everything in on the inside, that is your wheel of life. On the outside is your capacity. Now, if you look at a tire, it's just rolling, 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 rolling. You look at that shaded area, you can see it's pretty bumpy. It's like boom, 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 boom. And you're wondering why there's things that's not going well in your life. And you're probably overcompensating in another area, but you don't have good relationships in your family. This is how to have whole life success. But you can't see it. If you don't see it, it's out of sight, out of mind. This is your life's GPS system. If you ain't had fun in a long time, go do something fun. And here's what happens. Once you look at those numbers, you move that up a little notch, it's going to make everything else better. You'll have more energy. The goal is to stretch all of them out. Once you stretch all of those out, and I'm going to make sure that Joel has a visual so that they can show you what this looks like, so I'm not just like a talking idiot on here. Once you have all those out, you're going to have so much power at which you approach life, business, your family, energy, your spiritual life, everything, because you'll see it. And the way people will receive you is they'll want to be around you because you'll be generating so much energy and attraction. You take this one tool and put it inside of anything that you do, you will amplify your results. It may sound crazy, but a first grader cannot make sense of fifth grade if they've never taken the course before. Take this on, try it on. If it doesn't work, pass it on. But you try this on and implement it inside of whatever it is that you're doing, you will amplify your results.
I love it. Like for most people out there, I think 70 to 80% of people are visual. And so to do this exercise and to really see it before your eyes, I think it gets you into a moment of realization of, oh, I could be playing a bigger game here, right? Like your potential is far greater than your problems in life. What you can step into is so much more exciting than what you have already been in.
Absolutely. It's going to be so valuable. They'll be like, damn, I actually haven't had fun in like 5 years. Then they start fun, then they start getting more clients, then they start making more money, and they're wondering where it came from. It's because we're energetic beings. Yeah. So if you ain't got no energy, like you're like, what are you good for?
Mm-hmm. Yep. And remember we were saying just before the call, it's not about what you're saying or what you're doing, it's your being. And how do you get it in your being? It's through practice, it's through awareness, it's through acceptance, it's through working through it, applying it in your life. And it's crazy, man. Like I remember casting my 10-year vision 8 years ago, and I checked in on it big time around the 6-year mark and actually went in and constructed literally a whole new vision for myself. I usually push my vision out every year, but this one I decided to go in and pull the whole thing apart and reconstruct a whole new vision. And what I found was that the mindset that I had 8 years ago, I laughed at it today. Like, it was like, I can't believe that I was even thinking that way. Like, I remember saying, I'm going to reach 10 million views on Addicted to Success. And we've reached 145 million views. We haven't even reached the 10-year mark. And I'm saying that because, like, I want you to understand that, for those that are listening, that what Garrain has done with his life, like where he was when he was 21, or when he was in his car and homeless, to where he is now, like, this dude is absolutely rocking on so many levels. And, you know, we've been able to crush it with Addicted to Success, but only because we placed bets on ourselves. Because we were willing to go in, because we knew that we were worth it. And if you're listening now, and you're even listening to this podcast, you are already starting to place the chips on the table. You absolutely are worth it, but you have to believe that first.
Yeah, man. Yeah, 100%.
Garrain, where else can we find your content? You've got this new Impact Theory video coming out soon. So if anyone's listening to that, please hit share on Facebook or Instagram, wherever you may be, because this message needs to get out there. But Garrain, where else can we find you?
So the Impact Theory, by the way, the Impact Theory interview will be out. I don't know when this podcast will be out, but the Impact
ASAP.
Theory.
This is coming out ASAP.
So July 31st, it's being launched. And, you know, you can go, my website is GarrainJones.com, GARRAIN Jones.com. My Facebook is Garrain Jones. My Instagram is Garrain.Jones. Somebody stole my Garrain Jones, and that's not even their name, but we'll get it back. Garrain.Jones, Snapchat, Garrain Jones.
If you could give us just like one thing to really think about today, to really focus our minds on, what would that be?
Honestly, what you love. Our world is so crazy right now, and it's all due to a lack of self-care, a lack of self-love, a lack of just people not doing what actually makes them happy. Like, they'll settle to go do stuff that makes them all this money, but they're inside, they're not happy. And I realized, I'm like, damn, that's why all these wars and all this racism, all this, it's a form of hate, lack of self-love. So when you do what you love, you're in your heart. When you're in your heart, you emit a specific kind of frequency. What comes from the heart goes into the heart. And I could say all of this other stuff, but I don't want to be a part of this crew that leads people into this vicious cycle of craziness. When you do what you love, you get back to who you are, because that's what you were born into. Everything else was learned.
That's profound, brother. That's profound. And where are you at with your book right now? You got your book coming out soon, right? What's the release date?
Listen, we're on our third edit, and it is so fire. I'm so excited. There's a lot of stuff that I learned from a guy that was $200,000 in debt, to a guy who didn't have a relationship with his daughter and all these things, to a guy that's part of the top 1% wealthy in the world, who has a relationship with his daughter. Me and her mom, we bought her first car when she's 16, and it was a beautiful, monumental moment. Like, I'm so happy, Joel. Like, I've never been this happy in my life, in my entire life.
I can tell, brother. It's like oozing out of you right now. It's like jumping out on the camera.
Yeah.
That's amazing, man. Hey, I'm so happy for you. So Garrain, I end every interview with this last question. Okay, and this last question is, if you were to deliver your last 30-second speech to the world, what would that last 30 seconds sound like?
Ooh, that's good.
Hey man, Tony Robbins was tripping on this one, so be easy on yourself.
Okay, that's like one of those questions that you freaking meditate on. The power of your life is in your hands, but the only way to retrieve that power is by clearing your past. So everyone who you've ever caused harm to, it is your duty and mission to apologize and clear it, not for them, but just so that you are healed. Everyone that you get to forgive Forgive them. Apologize for your part. The power is in the root. And once you have that power, you will know why everything in your life up until this very moment has ever happened. Everything, from everyone you've ever dated, every job you've ever quit and went to the next thing, it all derived from your root. Clear your life, find your love, and share your love with the world.